What's going on, everybody? Pastor Wes here. I know that for the summer months, we decided that we would take some time away from our Thursday night Bible study sessions, but I didn't want us to lose the momentum that we created by really pondering Scripture, thinking about its implications in our lives. And I thought it would be great to just have some summer in Scripture as a continuation of our Thursday night Bible study. And so I'll be sharing a series of videos just talking about particular scriptures that I've been thinking about, perhaps things that I've been using in morning reflection, and to share my thoughts and to challenge you all to also ruminate about these scriptures as well in your own individual lives. And so today I wanted us to start with the book of Matthew, chapter 7. And I'm going to read verses 7 and 8 in the New Revised Standard Version. And then I'll share some reflection on it. And like I said, I'm going to invite you to also reflect on these scriptures that I'll be sharing over the next several weeks for this summer. So Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 and 8, New Revised Standard Version. It says this: "Ask, and it will be given you. Search, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and everyone who searches finds, and for everyone who knocks, the door will be opened." I wonder, do you believe that scripture for yourself in your life? And I don't ask that question to be cynical. I ask the question because I've also pondered it for myself. As I reflected on this text this morning in my morning devotional, I had to ask the question, God, were you lying to me when you said this in your word, when your son Jesus said these words? Because I can probably guess that many of you have been in situations throughout the course of your life where you have asked and it wasn't given, where you searched but you didn't find, where you knocked and the door did not open. So did God lie to us through the words of Jesus Christ? Was he lying to us that when we fervently ask God for things, when we diligently seek for things, that when we fervently knock on the door of opportunity, that those things are not actually going to happen for us in our lives in the way that God has said it? And you can be honest. Look, we all have experienced, through personal testimony, through the testimony of others, we have experienced situations where it seems like it has been forever and a day since I've been asking, since I've been searching, since I've been knocking. And I would be the first to admit that there are things that I have asked God for. There are things that I have been searching for. There are things that I have knocked on the door of God and on his throne of grace and asked diligently for. And those things have not yet materialized. And I know that there are people who are watching this video who can attest to what it is that I'm saying. But really, as I thought about this and as I reflected on it this morning, there was a little 15-pound being inside of my house that reminded me of what this text really means in my life. And that little 15-pound being is our dog, Kendrick. You see, despite the fact that we have bought food that is designated specifically for Kendrick, despite the fact that he has a myriad of different treats that he can eat, despite the fact that he has all of the creature comforts that a dog could possibly want, whenever I sit down to have my meal, or whenever my wife sits down to have her meal, you can rest assured that Kendrick will be sitting there at our feet waiting for a piece of chicken, for a piece of broccoli, or a piece of apple, whatever it is that we have on our plate. Kendrick will be there sitting and waiting, asking, begging for a piece of whatever it is that we have. And I have to admit, I'm telling on myself here, There are times when I'm sitting down to eat my food where I purposefully ignore, willfully disregard his request for the food. I just start eating. I start chomping away at my food. I start enjoying the meal that I prepared or that my wife prepared for myself, for ourselves. I go ahead and enjoy it because in my book, I'm saying, are you not grateful, Kendrick? You have all this food that we buy that is specifically for you. I can't eat it. We have all these treats that we buy specifically for you. We can't eat it. Yet and still, you want to come and ask me for my food. How indignant is that? Now, I know he's a dog, right? So it's not as if he understands the language that is coming out of my mouth per se. But I thought about it and I said, I'm not that much different than Kendrick is. After all, God has done a lot for me in my life. God has blessed me beyond measure. God has given me things that I didn't even know I needed and has given me things that I probably didn't deserve. Yet, I continuously knock on the door of God's throne. I search diligently for additional things. I ask God for more blessings beyond the things that I already have. And so I'm not that different than Kendrick. And I could imagine God sitting on God's earth, or his heavenly throne, I should say, and probably saying, Wes, after everything that I've done for you in your life, you're not satisfied? Is what I have done for you not enough? But yet, there I am, sitting at the feet of the Master, asking for something more, searching for additional blessings, knocking on the door of his throne room, asking God to do more for me beyond what he has already done. And I can tell you that when I don't get the answer right away, I might pout. I might get upset. I might even become indignant because it hasn't happened immediately when I wanted it to. And I can say this because I know that many of you probably share the same frustrations that I have. And that is that you've been searching for something, you've been asking God for something, and you have been knocking on God's throne room, asking God for something. And I don't know what your something is. But what I learned through the example of my dog is that despite the fact that I've done so much for him, despite the fact that he has food that only he can eat, snacks that only he can enjoy, there's always something inside of me, even after I ignore his initial begging, even after I ignore his little nudging of his snout on my leg. Even as I ignore that, there is something internally within me that cares so much for this little furry 15-pound creature that I still give him a piece of chicken. I still give him a piece of broccoli. I still cut off a piece of apple to give to him because I know that despite the fact that that little piece of chicken or that little piece of apple or that little piece of broccoli is not going to diminish me in any way, it's not going to stop me from still enjoying the meal that I have, but me fulfilling that request for that dog is everything for him. And Jesus said that if you then, who is evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, or in this case, good gifts to your furry, friendly animals, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? And so I share this to encourage you. I share this to say that it is the persistence of our prayers, it's the persistence of our petitions that makes all the difference in the world. When we diligently ask, when we persistently search, when we aggressively knock on the throne of God's door, that is when God hears from us and gives us a report. Don't weary in doing good, for at the appropriate time in due season you will reap a harvest if you faint not. So I encourage you, reflect on this text in Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 8. Reflect really on verses 7 through 11. And understand that your God, your heavenly parent, seeks to do good things for you. And if we are persistent in our prayers, God will eventually answer. I hope that encourages you. I hope it is something that you can hold on to. And until next week, I hope that this is a blessing to you. May the Lord keep you and bless you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and give you his peace. May he lift up his countenance upon you and be gracious to you, hence now and forever. Take care, everybody.